I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We have some guests here from Southwestern Government class. Thank you for being here.
Now it's on public record that you're here.
All right. First business item this evening is to approve the minutes from our meeting on February 11th. Has everybody had a chance to read those? And if so, any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to accept them as they are. I saw no errors.
Motion, do I have a second?
I can second that.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. Second item on the agenda this evening is public comment. Anyone in the audience like to come forward and speak to the council this evening?
Okay. Mayor Courtney is going to shut down the firing range May the 1st, correct?
May 1st, yeah.
May 1st,
Permanently.
permanently. And Sheriff Flint, myself, and Sean Scudder met with him last week. And Ben brought up the idea that if he would wait till May the 1st, Sheriff Flint can have all of his officers, personnel, and work with the city and have them all certified for the year. So that gives us some time to get something on the works or going. So I guess I'm back again asking for permission to move forward out at the jail with the timber where we can use the amount from the sale of it to put towards the range. Maybe basically get started and look at maybe an indoor shooting range in another segment or section of it. But I think we need to have some public meetings, some comments so they can voice their opinions. There's not all that many. Galloway out there on 7 would probably be the closest that, and those people on paper mill. But like Ben said, with good high perimeter walls, it won't look that bad. And you don't ever shoot on the weekend or anything, do you?
As a rule, very.
I think we could work around it. And thought process was, we need a building for Brett Roberts to store his maintenance equipment, his tractor and stuff in there. And then the back of it, because they're doing shooting training sessions now. So that way they could do their classroom or any other entities that come out there and then go right either to the indoor or to the outdoors. So just kind of throwing things around there to see what your council's thoughts are.
Good multi-purpose building.
You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, we could use it for, we do the Citizens Firearms Academy now. That really, we had a pretty good turnout, if you will, last year with that. We were wanting to go forward with it and try to make it better this year. However, with this hurdle, we'll call it, it's going to make that kind of challenging. But we also use it for stuff that's not always going to be out there just shooting guns. Like we use it for pepper ball training, less lethal munitions training, taser training. Like there's a multifaceted bunch of training that we can incorporate on one of those, and it's not always firing live rounds downrange. Stops training, vehicle extrication training, canine training. There's all sorts of stuff that we can do. It would be more of like a tactical training center than theoretically a gun range, because I would like to think of it as a multi-directional tool to use for Jefferson County for law enforcement and or any first responder that could utilize that particular ground for something that, could be utilized for public safety.
Couple of questions. How many shooting lanes would you have?
I have no idea.
You haven't thought about
We're in the
that?
early. This was just sprung on us like 2 weeks ago stage.
So
You mean
since,
as far as outside?
yes, yeah,
We could probably do what, 10 easily?
Yeah, at least 10 to 12.
Because there's a
probably.
chance of making up to a 200-yard range out there.
okay.
The back part of that wood, still leave
Mhm.
the wooded part for a buffer, plus you'd have your big berm that you're gonna shoot into too. So
Projected cost?
Haven't got that far.
So
I'm still
are you
working on
going
that.
to, on the shooting part, are you gonna have, where you're loading your gun, are you gonna have that covered? Or are you just gonna have just like a cement pad where you're shooting from?
There would be wall berms, what we call berms, that would go down 3 sides of the range. So your
Okay.
2 longs,
Mhm.
and then your your backstop. It could be.
So not just on one end, we're gonna have it all the
It'd
way,
be 3,
3?
you have 3 sides.
Mhm.
So you're only gonna shoot one direction.
Mhm.
So that the direction behind you, you could leave open.
Mhm.
you might mention about that bullet trap too, as opposed to digging up the berm.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different options too on backstops.
Mhm.
Different types of berms that you can utilize, that bullet traps that catch the round, and then you can also use dirt. It's lower cost, but if you ever had to do lead mitigation at the end, you're gonna have to pay by the ton to remove it. And unfortunately, the dirt is then gonna be considered contaminated. So you're gonna be paying to remove the dirt and the lead. Where if you do like a bullet trap backstop, you're only just pulling out the lead. And then it would go into a barrel, and then we would pay to have the barrel of lead removed in lieu of dump truck loads of dirt potentially. So, just, there's a lot of planning, a lot of research that, still needs to be done, cost, prices, the whole 9 yards. We're just at the very, 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 very beginning stages.
So, since Mayor Courtney is closing the one supposedly in May, well, he is closing May 1st.
May 1st.
What were his plans for an alternative for the officers?
We don't have one. That's why we had that meeting last week to kind of figure out where law enforcement would be within Jefferson County. And we just, between our department and the city, we have quite a few officers to qualify.
I guess my thoughts are, where I'm going with that is,
Should
I was
they
wondering
kick
if
in?
they would be able to inject some cash into
Absolutely.
this
They should
project.
I think he would probably definitely entertain that. I don't want to speak for him.
No, and I don't either, I just, there's value in that, because the closest range I know for officers outside of Jefferson County would be the one in Ripley County that officers use up there. And that one, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is
It's a
one
drive.
that's, yeah, and it's used quite often. It's used by state police, it's used by conservation officer, excise police, and of course Ripley County Police, so.
Department of Corrections.
Yeah, so it's used quite a bit.
I think Ben would agree with me. The main idea is just to get a ground level and kind of a clean portrait to work with, to see what we've got.
Well, you would have to at least, where you're shooting from, at least have some kind of pad there so that you're not in mud.
Yeah.
Um,
Gravel. or
What you're talking about is kind of like a friendship, where it's like a three-sided
Yes,
shed.
exactly.
Yeah,
So where you could load your gun, have a place to sit the stock down and reload, and get your,
Right.
clean it if you need to, have some place to clean your gun. Somewhere safe to put it so it's not in the weather.
Yes, ma'am.
Ben, would there be any kind of option for the public utilizing that and being charged fees to kind of curtail some of the costs, kind of recoup some of the cost of it? Some kind of training, I know you talked about the shooter training. I don't know what the fees are on that.
Right. I mean, I would say it would be something that we wouldn't rule out. I think it would be something that we would want to probably check with, insurance companies and see what our insurance rate liabilities and stuff like that would be with having. I can tell you from experience, the department I worked for in Florida in the past, we used to do it once a month. We would open it up for a weekend, and allow the public from Collier County to come and utilize it. And then the sheriff's department, range instructors, we would go out and just supervise and make sure that everybody was safe. It wasn't like an instruction, it was a free day to go out and shoot. We were just there for safety. But like I said, that's Florida, this is Indiana, so we would just, I think we'd want to dot our i's and cross our t's and make sure that we're good insurance-wise before we.
I do think when this went public before, that potentially the land at the jail adjacent to our property would entertain, that we were entertaining the idea of the animal shelter possibly being up there and or a range, that had gone public before. I bet within a week after, I bet I had 10 people that live in the meadows, the Galloway Trail that you just mentioned, emailing and calling me with concerns, and a couple other people closer within the paper mill, Dawson Smith area. And there's a couple new houses right on 7 within a quarter mile as well now that weren't there before. So I do think it would be wise to open that up to a couple public meetings for comments. I live out there as well, and I'm not saying it's not a good idea. It's obviously a wise use of the land that we have and adjacent to the sheriff's department. I think it would be smart, but I do think it would be smart to hear public input. And I was concerned about that as well, just revenue. I knew you had mentioned, I love that idea of timber that could be utilized that would need to be cleared out anyways, if we could take that revenue for such project. But that and other municipalities possibly kicking in, obviously we'd want to definitely move forward with what it's going to cost us and where we could possibly seek additional funds.
There's always option B to move it somewhere else, but then you got the price of the land, which,
Right.
It's gonna be prohibited anywhere out of the way, and then you're away from your building, your facilities, your utilities. And we had talked about maybe out of a wooded parcel, but you'd have to clear ground, and then there you go, electric, any kind of sewage, any kind of water. It's just non-existent out there.
I think even assuring the public, obviously much discussion to come on this, but I know one of the individuals may be quick to speak before thinking said, oh, those officers will be firing guns all through the night. And I assured them that obviously they don't just decide at 3 a.m. to go out for target practice. So I think just assuring the public also that there would be controlled times and that it would not just be widespread and open at any hour to the community and or agencies to.
I don't, in all the years
Their
I've
skills.
worked, I can't recall being, as a range instructor myself, I can't recall being up there any later than 8, 9 o'clock at the latest. And that was just to get, every so often we do low light type shooting. And unfortunately during the summertime, with the time, it doesn't get dark until, or lower light until 9-ish o'clock, so. But that's
That would be
that's
rare,
a
right?
very rare
Right.
occasion.
Bobby, you said about getting
Maybe
somebody
once a
out there to do the logging of the property. Have we talked to anybody about that? Do we have an estimate on what's out there to be logged?
The gentleman we talked to several, and one said there could be between $35,000 if you select harvested timber out there. That would make a pretty good chunk of getting the ground ready.
Maybe a good dent.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if we put it where we're thinking of, which is to the northeast, not total corner, but of the wooded property, I've had the DNR and the Corps out there, and they've looked and said, if we go right there, we're okay. We're not bothering any wetlands, because you don't want to do that. Because for every acre you disturb, you got to put 5 back somewhere, which would be cost prohibitive. So we should be in pretty good shape there.
Time wise to get that harvested.
I just have to get a hold of the loggers, get the best bid, and roll with it. Wait for the ground to dry out so they can get back in
Absolutely.
there. Yeah,
So, thank you.
but that's where we stand on that anyways.
Good information. Anyone else want to speak this evening? Can't believe you guys don't want to say anything. No, really appreciate you being here. It's good to get involved with local government and understand how things work and be part of it, so I really appreciate you guys being here. If there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, have a good evening.
My God,